Hey, what's up, y'all? It's me, LSP. Good, what is it, Thursday morning to you, but happy Halloween if you so choose to celebrate it. Alright, y'all, let's get right at this, the Connors. But before we can talk about this week's episode, the Halloween episode, I will tell you this, I was not impressed. But we have to talk about the two episodes that we didn't talk about, and I'll just wrap them up really quickly. The first one, Becky came home with the baby. And by coming home, I mean she moved into the basement of the Connor abode. And if you've watched it forever like I have, you know that wasn't really the Connor's basement. But I won't get into that. We have to move on. So Becky moved into the basement. She came home with the baby. Oh, Connor. Connor was blackmailing her mom because she figured out that she was dating both David and Ben. Because she saw David coming out of Darlene's bedroom one night. So she started blackmailing her, which, you know, that wasn't going to work well with Darlene. Jackie was acting really weird at the hospital, like just commando type, you know. So, that was the storyline, and they kind of talked to her about that, and she and Becky kind of had a rift, but they got back together, which you'll hear more about in this week's episode. So then, Louise and Dan. Shout out to Katie Stegall. I don't know if it was her people or her who actually liked my last tweet about the Connors. So that was really cool. So they're starting to really develop that relationship. And, I'm sorry, y'all, I'm driving, obviously. And so Dan and Louise are officially dating. He did accidentally call her Rose. That was a touching moment, you know, because, you know, if you've been around here long enough, you know I love Roseanne. I love that character. But anyway, I don't have to say that every time. Y'all know that. So I'm interested to see where they go with that relationship. And, so yeah, Jackie was wacky. That was it for that episode. Then the next episode, y'all. Oh, man, I can't believe I hadn't talked about this. So Darlene's car catches a flat, and she is, I guess, in a dead zone type place, so she just starts to text people, right? And, you know, she's like, my car's broken down, blah, blah, blah. Well, first David shows up, and she's like, you know, and then, so she and David are going to actually go and drive away to get the car fixed. And then, of course, Rugged Ben comes along, and, he's going to fix it. But did you hear what I said? Rugged Ben comes along. Ben, Darlene, and David end up in the same place. So anyway, Jackie, of course, drives by. So anyway, everybody knows about it. I can't even remember the other stories from that episode because I was just like, oh my goodness, the cat's out of the bag. Right? So Darlene and David and Ben. The cat's out of the bag, like I just said. Darlene and David are still in couples therapy, right? Well, Darlene hadn't been yet. David had been going to the sessions. So Darlene and she talks to Jackie and different people, and she knows she has to do what's right. So she's planning on going to the session, and she's just going to let him know, you know, I gotta break up with you, you know, yes, I am seeing Ben, blah, blah, blah. Well, she gets there, and David breaks up with her, does the whole thing that she had been planning to do to him, you know, you can stay here, you can talk about your feelings. He told her to stay and talk about her feelings. So, y'all, all this time, David doesn't have any backbone, blah, blah, blah. David showed her, okay? So she goes to Ben. You know, and she's going to let him know what's going on. And Ben's like, I don't want you either. Darlene got dumped by both of them, y'all. Both of them dumped her. So, that was the last two episodes. Let's get into this week's episode. Halloween. Oh, by the way, if you like the Roseanne episodes of Halloween, which are some of my favorite 90s television, Cozy TV, starting today, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central, they are going to have the Roseanne Halloween Marathon. So you know where I'll be. Trick-or-treaters, don't knock on my door. I'll be watching Roseanne. It's raining here anyway, and I never have trick-or-treaters. But anyway, this week's episode, as I said before, was a bit of a letdown since I just told you how much I love Halloween. It didn't really focus on Halloween as much as I thought it should, but that's just my opinion. You watch it and see what you think. So, the big story, our little Mary had a little storyline. She was dressed as a queen, not a princess, all right? She was out with her dad. Some lady came up and told him it was nice of him to adopt, and he's like, that's my kid, you know? So that made Mary feel some type of way, and I understand that because, you know, she's this little brown kid in the sea of white. But she ended up talking with Mark because, you know, my favorite two characters, little Mary and Mark. She ended up talking with Mark, and he, they talked about it. And I hope they develop that storyline a little bit more. You know, keep giving me more Mary because I enjoyed seeing her this week. Like I said, the costumes weren't that memorable. I mean, Roseanne hits hard. The Connors hit hard for Halloween. We know that. All right, y'all, I'm going to have to stop this for a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, so yeah, the costumes were not memorable. It was lackluster. But I'll move on and continue to talk about the episode. Darlene was dressed as Becky before the pregnancy. She, had on that Casa Fiesta costume. But anyway, so I had to tell you that backstory to let you understand what Darlene was doing this whole time. This whole time, she was plotting and scheming and trying to figure out how to get Ben back. Now, she was still working with Ben. Ben was, he didn't fire her. He still needed her. And, of course, you can't just fire someone because you guys broke up. That's why you don't do office romance. But anyway, I have to hurry up. So she tries to get Ben back. But the big story, y'all, remember the Lanford lunchbox where they sold loose meat sandwiches? Becky, I always want to call them Becky. Jackie and Roseanne owned it, and then Leon got in on it, and that Sandra Bernhard character, which I can't remember her name right now, I don't know why. But anyway, so the Mexican restaurant that had been, I think it was a Chinese restaurant. Anyway, the restaurant that had been there moved out. So Jackie wants to reopen the lunchbox, and guess who owns it still? Bev. Roseanne and Jackie's mom. Bev still owns the Lanford lunchbox. And she was living with Jackie because she had told Jackie she was broke. And yet, she was still getting this. So Jackie goes home. Jackie and Becky, by the way, are the ones who want to open the restaurant again. And Bev says she kept it because she wanted to leave her family something. So Jackie puts her out in classic Jackie fashion, and she goes to move in to the Connor home, of course. So she's sleeping on the couch there. But that was that, y'all. That whole episode to me was just like a waste. I hate to be that way, but it was a waste of a Connor Halloween. So if anyone from the Connors ever watches this, and we hope you get another season, take the bat, swing it hard, and knock it out of the park next year for Halloween Connors, because we love your Halloween episodes. Okay, y'all, that's it. I'm done. I hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to try to stay on track and not have to do 3 episodes in one video next time. But I appreciate you all rolling with me. And to my Connors family, much love. See you next week. As always, no fear and no regrets. You're awesome.